and thank you for being here this afternoon on this sort of fairly warm late October day. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on Aboriginal land and land that belongs to the Wanneroo people, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present and emerging, and offer my own sincere apologies for all harm and pain that's been caused as a result of white settlement, and also on behalf of the organisation that I'm the General Manager of, Carrie's Place, who also offers their sincerest apology. I'd like to welcome the Mayor of Maitland, Loretta Backer. Just want to give you a little rundown, a little intro into why we're here. So, in the audience, please put your hand up if you've ever been whistled at as you walk along the street, or had some sexist, objectifying words thrown at you as the car passes you by, or if you've ever been in a quiet or lonely spot at night and you felt anxious. If you've ever put your keys between your fingers while you've walked from point A to point B. Or if you've been at home alone and felt nervous and anxious. These are the everyday experiences of women. Women here in this country and women all around the world. I'm often asked the question, what about men? There is no doubt that men are also victims of violence all around the world, victims of men's violence in particular. We don't dispute that, but what we say is that what I've just gone through around anxiety in public places, in private places, when you're alone, that is a woman's experience. It is not a men's experience. Reclaim the Night is a movement that started in the 70s with a group of what we refer to, or was referred to back then, as women's liberation. Started in England, and the marches started demanding that women have the right to walk in public places, particularly at night, in safety and in security. That's what we're here for tonight, and as we do that, we'll be, after Loretta's spoken in just a moment, we'll be heading off over the bridge, taking a sharp left along the riverbank, going to where Lavenders and the Colonial Mutual is, walking down Elgin Street and being sort of helped by the police, and across or around Maitland Station, across the bridge and into Maitland Park. So now I'd like to invite the Mayor of Maitland, Loretta Backer, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, and I acknowledge Jan as the CEO of Carrie's Place. I'd also like to acknowledge the police here today because, thank you, and the Domestic Violence Committee, who have done so much good work in this city, because this is the first Reclaim the Night march in 10 years. So that is significant. And it's also sad. I guess we've had a number of high-profile incidents in the last few years that have hit the media, mostly in Victoria, but in Maitland and in the Hunter Valley, we also have a significant problem. So I live here on the Esplanade. I walk along here, across this bridge and along the levee 2 nights a week on the weekend. And I have a right to feel safe and be safe. And frankly, I do. However, there may be people who don't, and I acknowledge that. And I also acknowledge the role of our police when things go wrong, at how quickly they respond. And as Jan said, our first march was in the late 70s, and it was very much part of the feminist movement. And in fact, it was partially a response to Jack the Ripper. Pretty bad guy. But it was also, and I say this with greatest respect to our police, 40 years ago, it was their response to women telling them to stay off the streets. So 40 years on, I guess the police are are very supportive of all of us, men and women, who could all be victims of violence on our streets. We have a right to walk our streets and feel safe, and we have a right to be safe. Now, right now, I have both those. I feel safe and I am safe. But I acknowledge there are many people who aren't, and that it's difficult to even relax walking our streets. It may be because of something that happened previously and apprehension about what's about to happen. I guess tonight, this is the first march after 10 years in Maitland, so good on the Domestic Violence Committee for getting this up. And I know its response to what's happened in recent years across the country. And I guess we're marching in unity, in resistance, and, you know, in a sense we're empowering each other, and we need to do that. We have to reclaim, and it is reclaim the night, we have to reclaim the land. We live in a democracy. We have a right to wear what we want, walk where we want, and be where we want, safely. So I'm absolutely very happy that we are here tonight. I'm more than happy to reclaim the night, but I'm also happy to acknowledge everyone, men and women, who are supporting us with this, because it's not just a female agenda, even though it started out in the feminist movement. There are many men who support us in this, and we're very grateful to them, and some of them are here tonight. I guess as a mayor, I'd like to see our city safe for everyone, day and night. It's not something, I mean, we're mainly, I guess Reclaim the Night was about sexual violence, and that's a huge problem, and we've seen that recently in Victoria, some very high profile cases. But it's about violence of any kind. It's not okay. We don't agree with it. It's not all right. We have to stand up for that. The pen is mightier than the sword, and we need to get there. So I thank you all for coming tonight. I'm very, very happy, and I thank the committee for bringing us all here tonight. And my apologies in advance for having to leave because I've been double booked. And what I didn't do before I started, but I'm about to do now, is acknowledge the Wanneroo people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we are standing tonight, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future, who have a spiritual connection to these lands. And I guess over the time, they've seen a lot more violence than the rest of us. And that's something that is distressing. And we also need to acknowledge, I'm about to walk over this bridge and over to town, and I know I'll be safe. And I'll walk back tonight at 10:30 after I've finished what I'm doing, and I know I'll be safe. And I thank this community for raising awareness, because I'm safe because of what you do and what our police do. Thank you.
Thanks, Loretta. And what you were describing that happened around the Jack the Ripper, the asking women to stay indoors, of course, is classic victim blaming. That was 40 odd years ago. Where are we now? Yes, 40 odd years ago, definitely. And of course, sadly, it still happens today. The idea of it's up to the victim to keep themselves safe, and that's not the society that we want to live in. Yes, I echo your thanks to Maitland Police, who we work at Carrie's Place. We work very closely with every day. And I'd also just like to make a special acknowledgement to the workers of Carrie's Place who are here today, and some of those are also in Newcastle. I admire everything that you do every day. You're the most amazing, qualified, skilled, dedicated group of women that it's been a joy to lead for over a decade now, and I thank you very much. Okay, I guess we get started. I think there's people who are going to marshal us, so we'll follow them.